Good morning. Thank you. My name is Elena Klein, and I am very happy to welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Kent, where we are brave, curious, and compassionate thinkers and doers. We are diverse in faith, ethnicity, history, and spirituality, but aligned in our desire to make a difference for the good. Everyone here in person or on Zoom certainly picked a great Sunday to attend church because our youth group, called the Unitarian Universalist Youth for Justice, or UUYJ, is leading the entire service to share the experiences from our immersion and service trip in West Virginia this summer.
All right, so as we enter into the service, let's center ourselves around being present and open to new possibilities of spiritual growth. 18 of us traveled to West Virginia to meet new people, immerse ourselves in new culture, and learn new skills, discover new aspects of ourselves, and push out of our comfort zones. We invite you to do the same today. Pay attention to what is stirring in you. Lean in and listen. Push yourself out of your comfort zone. Clap, participate, sing, shout amens. Be comfortable going into the unknown.
Every day, as we drove to and from the worksite, we turned up our music playlist really loud and sang freely with zero inhibition. One song that resonated with us and captured so much of our trip was the song Into the Unknown from the Disney movie Frozen. Disney doesn't let us play the music here for you, but we still thought it was important enough to hear the words. As you join us on this worship journey today and push yourself to open up to the unknown, just imagine hearing all of us singing this song at the top of our lungs, driving through the mountains of West Virginia. I can hear you, but I won't. Some look for trouble while others don't. There's 1,000 reasons I should go about my day and ignore your whispers, which I wish would go away. You're not a voice, you're just a ringing in my ear. And if I heard you, which I don't, I'm spoken for, I fear. Everyone I've ever loved is here within these walls. I'm sorry, secret siren, but I'm blocking out your calls. I've had my adventure, I don't need something new. I'm afraid of what I'm risking if I follow you into the unknown. What do you want? 'Cause you've been keeping me awake. Are you here to distract me so I make a big mistake? Or are you someone out there who's a little bit like me, who knows deep down I'm not where I'm meant to be? Every day's a little harder as I feel my power grow. Don't you know there's a part of me that longs to go into the unknown? Are you out there? Do you know me? Can you feel me? Can you show me? Where are you going? Don't leave me alone. How do I follow you into the unknown?
The UUYJ motto is Nil Magnum Nisi Bonum, which means no greatness without goodness. We lived out that motto every day on this week-long cultural immersion and service trip to West Virginia as we learned, served, and spiritually grew together. This is Henry, and we are both students at The Ohio State University. We served as college advisors for this trip. 18 of us made the journey to the Appalachian Mountains in West Virginia, including 6 youth from UU of Kent and 3 advisors who you will hear from today. We also invited our sister church in Columbus, the First Unitarian Universalist Church, to join us on the trip, and they quickly signed up 7 youth and 1 advisor. In West Virginia, we worked with an incredible organization called the Appalachian South Folklife Center that organizes cultural immersion and service experiences for youth and adults all throughout the summer. Our work project for the week was to provide significant home repairs for an 87-year-old woman named Mrs. Sims, who lives alone in a home tucked far off the road in the mountainside.
My father and I have been fortunate enough to go on these types of service trips with Ellen and Alona before. So when Elena and I first gathered all of the youth together on the first night for our opening circle, I shared what type of opportunity they had in front of them, if they let themselves be vulnerable and open to the experience, if they challenged themselves to push outside of their comfort zones, if they listened to the spiritual stirrings inside themselves and identified what was holding them back. We picked up our pens and wrote in our journals that first night to capture the one thing that we wanted to shed or improve or let go of within ourselves to enable us to be who we wanted to be and to truly use our gifts to offer love and justice to others. Throughout the service, you will hear music that inspired us as we traveled to and from the worksite. You'll hear personal stories of embracing the unknown and transformation, and you'll see pictures of our community. We want to invite everyone to go along with us on this transformational journey. So please pick up the pen and index card that you received when you came in or at home. If you didn't get that card, raise your hand and someone will give you one. Take a minute and answer the same prompt that we gave the youth at their opening circle. Write down the one thing that you want to shed or improve or let go of within yourself over the next month to enable you to be who you want to be and to use your gifts to offer love and justice to others. Keep what you wrote down front and center as you go through the service today. Our challenge during our opening circle in West Virginia and our challenge to everyone today is by opening yourselves up to new experiences, by embracing different cultures, by humbling yourself, quieting your judgments, and quieting your self-doubts, you truly begin to see people in new ways, and new love emerges. This is where we sow the seeds of peace, within ourselves and within others.
Sharon Wiley's words call us this morning to an active role of discovery. It is said that ministers are here to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. I say we are all afflicted and we are all comfortable. May our time together this morning be a comfort and a confrontation. May we here find peace in times of tumult. May we here invite tumult into lives of peace. May we here find calm in times of restlessness. May we here allow restlessness to evolve into action. Let this be the place you consider what you've never considered. Let this be the place you imagine for yourself something new and unthinkable. May this hour bring dreams of new ways of being in the world. Come, let us worship together.
As Unitarian Universalists, we light a flame within our chalice to unite us in worship, to remind us of our ongoing search for the light of truth within us and among us, to be a light that reveals us the beauty in our world and each other. As Evie lights our sacred chalice, I invite those of you on Zoom to light your home chalice. Please join me in reading our covenant printed in the bulletin and on the screen. Love is the spirit of this church, and its service its law. We do the covenant to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Please rise in body or in spirit as we sing Hallelujah.
One of the best gifts we can give ourselves in our busy lives and in these challenging times is time to care for our spiritual lives. Each week we create a time of shared stillness for prayer, reflection, gratitude, meditation, or simply being in order to remember, reflect, and reconnect with the sacred mystery that is the very heart of life itself. Let's enter stillness for a minute. Life is a mystery that brings many things. Part of our experience is struggle and loss. In the spirit of being a community of compassion and care, we take time to share those sorrows, struggles, and losses that are in our hearts right now. If you are on Zoom and have a sorrow, loss, or struggle to share, please use the chat box. Carol Wagon says prayers for a friend and her family dealing with Alzheimer's. I would ask for prayers and thoughts for a friend with a cancer diagnosis who will undergo surgery next month. Her name is Mary.
We'll continue to raise up the children in the Kent City schools who continue to heal and evolve from threats of violence. Please also raise up that money is really tight, it's really tough still, from Colin Kay.
These words of comfort are from Elizabeth Berkey. Spirit of life, love which holds us, we gather in reverence and thanks to you. We are grateful for the gift of another breath and for each moment of connection, beauty, and truth. Cry with us in our pain for our world. Remind us that we are loved just as we are. Remind us that we are connected with all that is. Remind us that we do not journey alone. Give us what we need for today. Call us back to our promises, commitments, and values. Help us love ourselves and each other, and to show that love in our actions. Make us instruments of justice, equity, and compassion. Free us from all that is evil. We declare that life and love are stronger than tyranny and fear, then that a world of beauty and love is coming, and we must shape it together. May it be so. Amen. Life also brings joys, wonder, and awe. We've experienced moments this week that have lifted our spirits. Once again, please use the chat box to share your joys with us. Did we have any? Did we? Come on, guys. Come on.
I think I will speak for all of us that we need to raise up the joy of our youth this Sunday.
Yeah. Well done.
We also have a joy to share that Colin's service dog saved my life this week. Oh, wow.
Wow, that's a big one.
John, you have one? Come on up. Come on up. Take your mask
Take your mask off, baby.
So I ended up getting grounded because I accidentally brought a pocket knife to school, but on the upside, I am over halfway through with my grounding, so.
With gratitude for these and every blessing we receive in life, for the beauty of the world, and for the gift of life itself, as we extend our hands to each other in companionship on life's journey, we raise our hearts in gladness with the word, Amen.
It is wonderful to share with you this morning a song that I wrote called Seeds of Peace. It's inspired by many generations of people who have led youth into service to both give and receive. And it's wonderful to see this new generation of people carrying on a tradition that my parents started for Ellen and I in 1972. To learn about other lands. I want to find out where others stand. I want to reach out and touch new hands. When I reach out to someone else, I learn about myself. As I extend this hand to you, take it in yours and lead me through a day in the life you lead. It is through understanding that we can plant the seeds of peace, seeds of peace. Discover many common things, praise the growth that new friends bring, that the hate knowledge brings. When we reach out to someone else, we learn about ourselves. So I extend this hand to you. You can sing along with, all right? Come on and plant these seeds of peace. Plant these seeds of peace. Plant these seeds of peace. Come on and plant these seeds of peace. As I extend this hand to you, take it in yours and lead me through a day in the life you lead. It is through understanding that we can plant the seeds of peace, seeds of peace. One more time with gusto. Come on and plant these seeds of peace. Come on and plant these seeds of peace. Come on and plant these seeds of peace. Come on and plant these seeds of peace.
The Appalachian South Folklife Center that hosted us for the week was founded by Don and Connie West in 1967. They established the center to assist and educate the young people of the mountains. Don was a successful poet, historian, educator, and activist. Connie was a portrait artist. They provide educational and cultural programming that celebrates their Appalachian heritage and promotes service to others, environmental responsibility, and diversity and inclusion. The center is a non-sectarian nonprofit, but was previously affiliated with the United Church of Christ and receives support from many church groups across the country. Each year, the center assists families in need through their service work program. College, church, and civic groups come to the Folklife Center to learn about Appalachia while performing volunteer work for folks in the area facing hard times. This program helps people with their home repair needs and provides other services to the community, nonprofit, and grassroots organizations. The program also immerses volunteers in the Appalachian culture through experiences with art, music, storytelling, and mountain hikes. They also create experiences for youth to gain valuable teamwork and leadership skills while learning specific home repair skills at the same time. The center is in Pipestem, West Virginia, on a beautiful 60-acre campus with 9 buildings, including a dining hall, 3 dormitories, a chapel, a library, tool shed, director's house, barn, playground, basketball courts, and a natural outdoor amphitheater. This gorgeous backdrop served as the foundation for our time in West Virginia, where we learned and grew together through the power of stories. Open your hearts and minds to our stories from Maya, Evie, and Jamie.
Someone named Nicola Ikuza once said, "I was always taught by my mother that the first thought that goes through your mind is what you have been conditioned to think. What you think next defines who you are." This is where a lot of stereotypes can come into play. For example, if you were to meet a shirtless man with leathery skin, long, thin hair, a few missing teeth, a cigarette hanging from his lips, camo cargo shorts, and a thick southern drawl, this might bring forward some assumptions about who he is and even what he stands for. Perhaps you would start to draw conclusions and put up walls before you got to know him. This is something that happens to all of us, and it is nothing to be ashamed of. Drawing assumptions is something our brains do automatically to save energy. Unfortunately, the shortcut can lead to stereotyping, and it is sometimes the reason we don't seek the whole picture. Because if you did get to know this man with the thick southern drawl, you would learn that he is an extremely caring, extremely emotional person who dedicates his life to helping families in poverty. You would learn that he works alongside youth to teach them valuable skills and expose them to different cultures and lifestyles. You would even learn that he has an obese wiener dog. This man's name is Greg. In case you didn't already figure it out, Greg is a man who made this all possible. He works at the Appalachian South Folklife Center as the crew chief. He taught us everything we needed to know about home renovation. He was truly the backbone of the whole operation. So it's important to remember that our brains are essentially trained to judge books by their covers. And because of this, we can miss out on a lot of great relationships and conversations with people based on these predetermined opinions. When we first arrived at the camp, we did an activity where we each wrote down things that came to mind when we thought about West Virginia. Many of us wrote things about beautiful mountains and rivers and country roads, which are all definitely a big part of the West Virginia experience. But we also had a lot of notes about the coal industry, drug addiction, and poverty. West Virginia is actually an area that has had a lot of economic struggles in recent decades, which contribute to its rugged reputation. I personally didn't know what to expect when we went to help Mrs. Sims. I wasn't overly surprised to see her wearing a t-shirt that said "Ban idiots, not guns." Yet she was also overjoyed to welcome a bunch of UU teenagers into her house. She smiled, laughed, told fun stories, and shared her love with us every minute we were there, and even bought pizza for all of us on the last day. After talking to her daughter, Paulette, we learned that Mrs. Sims was widowed when her children were very young. Even though money was tight and she was busy, she always managed to prepare home-cooked meals for her kids and baked goods. She also had a big garden that she used to spend hours in every day, and she loves visiting with her grandkids. All of these qualities, the gardening and the cooking, reminded me a lot of my own grandma. It goes to show that people from different places and different backgrounds with different challenges can still have so much in common. It also reminds me that despite our differences, all we need to do is dig a little deeper and we can find a connection or common ground with anyone. And the truth is, it's a lot easier to come together with people we agree with. But it is more important, especially with the strong divide in our country right now, that we try to come together with people we disagree with. We don't need to change anyone's mind, but by being exposed to different walks of life, we can at least gain an understanding of why people act and feel the way they do. So although the first thought that goes through your mind may not always be the most positive, let the second thought that goes through your mind be one of open-mindedness that will bring people, especially those of different backgrounds, together in community. Our experience in West Virginia reinforced that if you just lean in and quiet the judgments and maybe quiet your own self-doubts and discomforts, you will find the inherent worth and dignity of every person, just like we did with Greg and Mrs. Sims.
Every day during the week in West Virginia, we worked at Miss Sims' house. Ellen has brought youth on trips like this 13 different times, and she's said she's never seen a group of youth work harder than we did. We stayed in Miss Sims' front and back deck, painted the foundation of the house, repaired broken gutters, cleared weeds that had taken over her flower beds, built new mailboxes, installed new flooring, and painted her laundry room, hung drywall, or sheetrock, as they call it in West Virginia, patched a huge hole in the ceiling of a bedroom that she hasn't been able to patch. Hold on here, I'm lost now. She hasn't been able to use for years due to a leak in her roof, and completely restored the storage shed behind her house. That shed was the most important project for Miss Sims because she told us the story of how they didn't have much food, have much money after her husband died, and the shed used to hold all of the food that she grew in her garden that fed her 5 young children. The head of our work crew, Greg, couldn't believe the amount of projects we finished. But that wasn't even the best part of the week. It was the stories. Miss Sims and her daughter Paulette told us many stories about themselves. Funny stories like when Paulette skipped school one time to go play pool, and her mom found out and walked right in there and marched Paulette straight home. Paulette said she'd never skip school again, and loving stories like how Miss Sims likes to feed her raccoon friends the leftover scraps of her meals. And very sad stories, like when Paulette told us about family members who had died of drug overdose, as well as many of her graduating class. I related to some of Paulette's stories. I felt such a strong connection to her. She is a 50-year-old social worker and a mom to a 15-year-old daughter who is in high school. Paulette became a social worker to help kids, and you could tell that she treats them like they were her own child. What I loved the most about Paulette is she would sit down and listen to my stories. My favorite conversation with her is when we talked about how wonderful my parents are, She would just sit and look at me in the eyes and ask me questions that would make me feel like I was the most important person ever. Her mother, Miss Sims, is also a sweet and kind, generous woman who told us a lot about herself. Despite experiencing the worst traumas of losing her husband and son, she stayed strong and survived. In fact, every time someone started telling a story, whether it was Greg, Paulette, or Miss Sims, we all stopped in what we were doing, sat down, and listened. Every night when we went back to Appalachian South Folklife Center, we would sit in a big circle and talk about our experiences from the day. We would stop what we were doing, sit down, and listen to each other's stories. It's the stories that taught us not to judge people we don't know. It's the stories that help us relate to each other. It's the stories that help me be proud of my own family. It's the stories that connect us all.
This trip was honestly so impactful. The people, the experience, everything. I want to share with you what I wrote in my journal during our opening circle on our first night in West Virginia in response to the same prompt that Henry had you write down. What is the one thing that I wanted to shed or improve or let go of during the week to enable me to live into my true spiritual self? I wrote down that I wanted to work on opening myself up to other people. This has always been hard for me, especially with people I don't know. Even though it's easier to close myself off to others, I wanted to challenge myself to push past the discomfort and stay open to new experiences and new people. During the discussion in our opening circle that first night, I was so nervous to talk. I was shaking because I didn't know half the people there. But by the end of the week, we were all one big group, not two separate ones, and I didn't shake one bit in the closing circle our last night. Being able to work so closely together, plan meals, the car rides, and just live together really brought us all close and tore down my walls of discomfort. And then there was the work. It didn't feel like work very much. It was honestly fun. I learned so much new stuff, like putting down flooring. The work itself was fun, but the meaning of the work was so incredible. Knowing we were making a huge difference in someone's life, and not just someone, Mrs. Sims, was really meaningful. We weren't just helping a person. We got to actually meet her, learn from her, be her friend, and listen to her. I felt like that was the most moving part of the work, was hearing from Mrs. Sims and her daughter Paulette. Listening to their stories and sitting down with them, and opening myself up to be in relationship with them. They were real people, not just unknown people who we knew we were helping but didn't really know personally. We knew exactly how much this meant to them because we became their friends. Another part of the work that was also significant was Greg. I pushed past any discomfort at opening myself up to new experiences and quickly volunteered to learn how to install flooring in Mrs. Sims' laundry room. Greg was so kind and helpful as he showed me how to measure each piece, cut the flooring, and hammer it in. He taught me so well, and I don't really know how to describe it, but he was just a really good teacher. And if I did something wrong, he wouldn't get mad or anything. He just let me know it was okay and we could just do it again. I felt safe with him. I didn't have to worry about messing up or making a mistake and then knowing that I let the whole group down and feel awful. He would let me know before I could even start worrying that it was okay. If I made a mistake, it wasn't a big deal. He would say, "Ain't nothing but a thing. It's just a thing, nothing more, and let's just move past it and not get stuck on a mistake." This new sense of openness to trying new experiences, that it's okay to mess up, and seeing that others will be there to support you didn't just end with Mrs. Sims, Paulette, and Greg. I felt safe to be myself with the whole group. I didn't worry about being judged or what people would think of me. I just could be me, all of me, which let me just relax and have fun. I truly had so much fun. When I got back home, I was kinda in denial about being back. I didn't want to be. I wanted the trip to be longer, to go back to Mrs. Sims, keep working, and keep seeing all the friends we made who lived in Columbus. I even asked my mom to give me extra work and chores to do every day because I felt so lost afterwards. I had such a great experience and I didn't want it to end. But of course it did. And now looking back, I don't just think it was a great trip where I met friends and now I'm sad I'm back. I look back and think about how different I was before the trip, how the trip made such an impact on me, and I'm just in awe about how a single week could mean so much. By allowing myself to experience new people and new cultures, and learning the power of listening to the needs of others, I am now definitely more open as a person and more confident in my ability to make a difference. But I know I can't let all of these new life experiences end in West Virginia. Our entire youth group knows the real work starts now that we're back here in Kent. We are ready now more than ever to continue to support each other, but we are also ready to support the church as we find new ways to open our doors to the community and fight for justice. We want to explore starting a youth-led monthly community meal in Hobbs Hall, where we prepare and share a meal with people here in Kent who are food insecure or feeling lonely. Are you ready to come along with us? Remember, we just need to try new things and go for it as Greg taught us. Ain't nothing but a thing.
Our youth group wants to thank our entire congregation for all of the love and financial support you provided us to enable us to go on this trip. In that same spirit of giving, our community thrives when we each participate in the circle of giving and receiving. Thank you. To help others in our community, we also give to agencies and organizations in Kent and beyond that serve those in need. September's special offering will benefit the Southern Poverty Law Center. The SPLC is a catalyst for racial justice in the South and beyond, working in partnership with communities to dismantle white supremacy, strengthen intersectional movements, and advance the human rights of all people. If you would like your offering this morning to go to the special collection, please write "Special Collection" on the memo line or envelope. If you are giving electronically, the instructions will appear on your screen. In the spirit of gratitude for the gift of one another and this community, we now give and receive the offering. As our service comes to its close, will you join me in the words for extinguishing our chalice? Does everyone have the page? Okay. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. May we carry these in our hearts and minds until we are together again.